Yeah, so certainly there's a lot of uncertainty, and I think I said at an event last night that Macquarie was having that's the word of the year right now, the word of 2025. I think that's going to weigh on activity in the second half of the year. You can already see it in some of the indicators, but at the same time, the economy is proving to be relatively resilient, and I think there's good reason for that.
It feels to me like it comes down to the consumer. The consumer still seems to be out there pretty active. I guess if they feel like if you've got a job and the income's coming in, you're spending it. Is the consumer holding this economy up?
The consumer looks to be, again, that word resilient comes to mind. It's holding up. It's holding up a lot better than a lot of folks would have anticipated. I think the challenge that the consumer may confront later this year is that you could see a pickup in some of the inflation measures as the tariffs are passed on, but you might not see the commensurate rise in nominal wage growth. So, of course, real wage growth may slow slightly. So that's why we think there could be some slowing in the economy. But again, we're not expecting that to be overly severe.
When you look at Canadian dollar as a litmus paper of the system, and I don't want you to make an FX bet here, but just the general tariff debate, is it going to end up pro-Canada, or are the dynamics so much that they really harm the Canadian economy and Canadian dollar almost unhinges?
I think Canada is well positioned to benefit from the trade uncertainty.
Why?
Well, just because the history of the relationship with the U.S., the willingness of Carney to be pragmatic in his approach to the United States. We've seen that this week with the increase in defense spending that was announced.
This is a liberal increasing defense spending.
Yes, and it's not something that they signaled in the campaign, but it's something now that they are signaling that it's going to happen quite rapidly. On top of that, you had a border security bill that was proposed last week. So I think those sorts of things are going to go a long ways towards moderating the trade rhetoric out of the Trump administration.
Well, let's talk about the dynamic right now. I was up there with Bloomberg LP here a number of months ago. It was pretty gloomy. And I'll suggest, and particularly with the King's speech to Parliament, with Mr. Carney present, was really, it was pageantry and all that. And I'm not sure how it affected the Canadian people. We should clarify that Mr. Carney was chairman of Bloomberg Philanthropies here before he chose to public service in Canada. Is it a sea change in Canada now that Macquarie sees? Is it a dramatically new template for Canada, or is it a day-to-day grind?
So yeah, I think it's probably somewhere in between. A sea change may be overstating it at this point. I think there's a lot of optimism, though, that you effectively the way that I've described it to folks, and no offense to anyone that's a Justin Trudeau supporter, but the Canadian economy was mismanaged for close to a decade. And now you have someone in who is pragmatic, who's highly competent, who's starting to make signals about doing the right things to improve the growth trajectory.